And I think there's a certain element in REDs where you have to kind of grapple with the life changes that happen through having REDs. And, you know, relative energy deficiency in sport, because it happens so out of the blue. For me, it was a torn Achilles, and that disrupted my D1 scholarship, which meant I couldn't go to the US, and it all had like that, I guess, negative impact. And it meant that much of my life choices had to change. It then means I kind of look back and it's definitely a moment of grief, I'd say, because I didn't get to go on scholarship at that time when I was, 17 years old. And that doesn't mean that I can't go back to racing again at all. There's a very much a black and white way of thinking in REDs that I have. And I think that kind of feeds into the RED cycle. So thinking it's all or nothing, it's black or white. And lots of the advice can also be like that. It's very much like eat more, train less. Some of the advice I had was, you'll get back to racing again like that. And I did come back the first time, I did. But what's quite unhelpful is sometimes you really just want someone to say, it's not fun, it's not great. And also realizing that REDs can come and go. And what I mean by that is, I think a lot of the time REDs and relative energy deficiency in sport recovery is framed as this, okay, I had a stress fracture and I found out I had REDs. And tip is that it's not always a stress fracture. Stress fracture is literally, when your bones are at the lowest of the low and you've really hit kind of the point where, you could be on the point of the kind of the osteopenia, osteoporosis. So stress fracture isn't the only thing that validates REDs at all. It's definitely being passed as that on social media and in the runfluencer space, but it's not. I mean, I tore my Achilles twice and my meniscus twice. That still validates me as having relative energy deficiency in sport as much as anyone else. And it still validates my experience, and it still validates how much it's impacted my life. Won't ever take away from that. And then hormones, period health. And then obviously that has an impact on your muscles and your bones because you don't have the regular cycle. And I think what I'm seeing massively at the moment is the impact that the kind of narratives around you have to be either having a stress fracture to be experiencing REDs and have your experience validated, or you have to be an elite athlete, or you have to be looking underweight or low BMI. I wasn't low BMI at all. I was in the fine range, but for my body, it wasn't fine at all. And also just presuming that it's only something that happens during puberty. And I think what's massive is REDs for me showed up over multiple times. It didn't just show up in puberty. It didn't just show up in my teens, and it didn't just show up in my 20s. It showed up consistently over time because sport for me was a coping mechanism. And so whenever I'm at times when life starts to get out of whack, i.e. when I go on holiday, shift in routine, when I move country, when I move job, when I move school, for me, I cope by the restriction mindset, and I cope through overtraining and exercise. And something really fascinating that I learned through having kind of regular therapy and learning about the more cognitive and psychological sides of